Peter Larson is a traveling salesman who lives in a neatly manicured suburb of Salt Lake City with his wife, children, and grandchildren. His life is typical of millions of Americans, except
I've spent the better part of my life preparing for a nuclear holocaust.
he's a prepper.
I believe there's a very high probability of a nuclear attack on the U.S., probably from the hands of a terrorist.
The greatest nightmare that I can imagine is a nuclear holocaust where
A terrorist organization that manages to get their hands on a delivery system that enables them to detonate the weapon above Omaha, Nebraska. Prepper is someone like myself who prepares. And it doesn't mean that I'm an extremist. I simply decided that it was time to get a shelter for myself and my family. There's always a question of whether or not I'll be able to actually get to my shelter. My shelter's about an hour and 20-minute drive from here.
when there's a nuclear attack, the fallout would be going primarily to the east as long as the prevailing winds continue to move in that direction. Subsequently, I have 3 routes.
The rule of 3 guides many prepper plans. Peter has 3 modes of transportation, utilizing 3 different routes from his home to his shelter. To practice worst-case scenarios, Peter will often leave his car and walk the last several miles to his bunker.
One of the things about prepping is it has eliminated some hobbies. I don't golf, I don't bowl, I don't follow sports. Most of my time is focused on what can I best do to prepare my family for a nuclear holocaust.
This is my bug-out bag. I carry it with me everywhere I go. This bag has everything that I'm going to need to get myself back to my shelter. Fire starting equipment. I have a hand chainsaw, water filtration. If we're dealing with a breakdown in the system, there's a hostile environment, it's important that I have good clean water. I'm actually pumping this water through a ceramic filter. It's kind of like pumping water through a rock. So it's going to pretty well protect me from anything that's in the water. I currently have about 1,000 gallons of water stored. That'll last us about 2 months. By the end of the summer, I'll have another 1,000 gallons. That'll add another 2 months.
Peter is meticulous and relentless in his planning. Along each of his possible routes, he has hidden critical provisions. This one, hidden on a friend's farm, is only a few miles from his bunker.
The idea of a cache is simply to have additional supplies located along the way between my home and my shelter so that I can resupply myself with food, water, and necessities. This is also a place I can spend the night. Not only is it warm, it's also going to be dry and comfortable.
A successful salesman, Peter travels extensively. When he enters a new town or city, he is examining it through the dark prism of his survival.
Anytime I spend time in a major metropolitan area, I'm always cognizant of the quickest way out because I look at the cities, quite frankly, as a death trap. My shelter is located in the foothills in a remote part of the state.